of a sudden he gets a call from his telephone. Picks it up. What's good? The guy's like,
what's good? He did not say what's good.
I need you.
He did not say,
yes, he
yo,
did.
what's good?
Yes, he did.
God. No, he didn't.
Hi, this is Scout and
William
from Hypermentilating,
the podcast,
a show that follows life and change through the eyes of a father and daughter. Join us as we find our way together.
Yes, for sure. Join us.
Yes.
As we find our way together.
Yes.
Yes, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We are finding our way.
So, today we have a pretty good episode planned out.
Mm-hmm.
And our first segment of the day is, well, not segment, but topic. When do you think someone is old enough to go out alone? Like on a walk or with friends?
Well, you're looking at me all quizzically. Was that a question?
Well, I guess I could start us off if you insist.
Well, you usually do.
So
no, I'm open to it.
Okay, I'll start off.
All right.
So basically, I think that when you're 13 or 12, you can start going out alone. Especially when you're 12, if you have a sibling or something, I think that that's probably the better option. And then
there's a lot of moving parts to the question, right?
Like, okay, for example,
going?
I walked to the pharmacy a little over there because my friend was picking me up one time alone.
Yeah.
And so that was...
Recently.
Yeah, recently. It was definitely before I turned 13, in November, say.
Well, you and Matt started walking down to jiu-jitsu like last year or so.
Yeah, and we can do it.
Oh, you could have done it before then.
Yeah.
Right? It was a matter of expediency, too. Like, did you need to go anywhere? You didn't really.
And, like, mall-wise with your friends or something, I could easily think 12, 13.
I think, like, a lot of moving parts. It would depend, right? Like, I said expediency.
Depends
like,
on
that
what kind
would
of
be
kid
part
you
of it,
are.
right? Yeah, and is it necessary?
Right.
Like, William had to walk home at 11 because he just did. Like, that was the circumstances required that he go from school to the house. And it wasn't a super tricky walk, but it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And, I just said, yeah, for sure depends on the kid. There's kids who could walk, all over the neighborhood, crossing streets and lights and everything at 8 or 9, just because they're that switched on, right?
Yeah.
And then I know kids that I wouldn't trust them to walk anywhere at 17 barely, right? So I think it seems like 12 or 13 seems like kind of the wheelhouse.
And not for, major hikes alone or to, your best friend's neighborhood that's in a neighbor state, I don't mean like that. But
again, though, depends on the kid, right?
It depends on the kid,
because there's kids like you, I could definitely, we could go over what you would have to do to take a bus, say, into Nayarit to go and see Ali or something. And then there's ways of doing it that you'd completely be capable of, right? Uh-huh. So it's all circumstantial.
Yeah, I truly think it all depends on the kid that's doing it.
And where they're
going,
yeah,
where they're walking.
But it's a good question. Makes you consider all kinds of things about, like, when you're old enough to do what, right? So when are you old enough to get on a bus, say, or to go to another, say if you're an American kid, when are you old enough to go from one state to another? How it'll always be, it depends on the kid, of course. Mm-hmm. But in general, it seems like 12, 13, somewhere in there seems like where kids get old enough to express themselves, because the kid would need to be able to ask for help if they needed help, right? That's a big one.
Well, and a lot of kids, especially in this day and age, are scared of lots of things.
Mm-hmm, true.
Because they're used to being secluded or just being in their room. I think that is a big thing to do with why we see less kids walking around alone.
Yeah, it could be.
Because back in the day, there weren't as many fears, Kids would walk alone, and
I don't know
there were fears.
Yeah, I don't know if there weren't as many.
I don't think there were as many because now, in this day and age, kids have access to everything. So kids can be online and they'll see a video about, a kidnapper or something,
Yeah.
and then they'll be scared. Whereas kids, I don't, like back in the day or whatever, wouldn't have as much access to it. Like they could read the paper.
Yeah, but in a way though, when I was a kid, the stranger danger was still a thing, man.
Yeah,
like
I know it
you had
was.
this big fear of like some weirdo was gonna. I know what you're saying. Like you guys are definitely exposed to way more heinous things at a way earlier age, but our imagination certainly filled in a lot of blanks. Like you definitely were. It was stressed to you when I was a kid that like, okay, you have to be aware. You got heads on a swivel. It's not just people. It's cars. It's any number of things that could create a problem for you when you're out and about on your own. I know what you're saying. I understand. It's horrifying. I'm so sad for all of you guys that you are exposed to so much fear and fear-based information online. It's really horrible. I guess my point is that the actual concerns, I don't know if they're any greater than they were. And in a lot of respects, I think they're less because everybody's watching everything all the time. I think it's harder for weirdos to be weirdos, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But you definitely have more things that you feel like you need to be concerned about. I just don't know if a lot of them are that real, right? Like
I don't either.
I don't think the world's a scarier place in reality.
My big thing is that kids my age and younger have access to the internet where they can Google or just watch anything that even if it's fake, but then that kid has that fear.
Yeah, for sure.
For however long until they find out that it's not real or forever.
Yeah, and fear plays such a huge role in life.
It's sad because there's not really anything you can do about it. It's kind of just don't let your kid have access to the internet. But that's kind of hard because they'll have friends or... I think we're kind of getting off track here.
Yeah, so we're talking... when 13. It's too old to go out and about by yourself. So what are the things you're looking at? Or too young. When's too young to go out? So you're looking at what do you what are your obstacles? So your kids... You're sending your kid out to go from A to B. So what are the obstacles? Are there street lights? Cars.
People.
And so
animals.
You send your kid out as prepared as possible, right? Because as a parent, I can't just keep you protected forever. Like you need to go out and learn how to deal with these things.
And experience your own experiences.
Definitely. So it's at what age are you ready to deal with those things? So what age can you process? Okay, these are the threats. These are the dangers. These are the ways to enjoy it too. Like go out, man, and enjoy your freedom and your independence.
I remember being
your
like
adventure.
6 or 7 and Madish and I would be like, Dad, when can we go to the park alone? Like, when can we go? Because we would always go together. We couldn't go alone.
Yeah, I definitely.
And I remember thinking, like, this is nonsense. Like, I just want to go to the park alone. I just want to swing by myself. And now looking back, I'm so glad that you wouldn't let Paws and I go alone. Because we would go and there would be older kids there.
Yeah.
And there was, things that we could have been maybe exposed to but when we're together, there's less of a chance of that happening. So I'm so glad that we had to go together. And
for me too, in those circumstances, either one of you could have gone to the park in the neighborhood by yourself and come back. I wasn't particularly worried that you wouldn't be able to navigate, that maneuver. I also like the idea of you guys learning how to be together and work together. That's super important. Yeah, we tend to get off the rails, don't we?
Yeah.
That's all right. I love that about our conversation.
Me too.
So when you're old enough, you're old enough. Like from my point of view, when a kid is old enough to process the responsibility. Dangers. Yeah, I mean...
The dangers and the responsibilities.
The responsibility of being responsible for themselves. When the kid's ready to be responsible for themselves and do that, then they're ready to go, whatever age that is.
I'd say 12 to 13 would be the...
We seem to agree. It's 12 to 13 seems to be in there somewhere.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Our next topic is, can cheaper be better? So I'll start us off again. As a person who loves to buy things with my tooth fairy money from a long time ago that I still have 300 pesos left over. So as a person who likes to spend their own money, can cheaper be better? Yeah, 100% it can be better. But it can also be way worse sometimes. Say you go to a grocery store. You're looking at 2 things that are different brands, but the same thing, toothpaste brands. And you've used both of them before. and say you buy the expensive one first, and you try it out, and then you go back and you're like, hey, well, I'm going to try the cheaper one this time to see if they're any different. You buy the cheaper one. Then you find out that, oh, wow, these are basically the exact same thing. But then one time you go to the grocery store.
Wow.
And you come across maybe a pair of socks. And one of the socks is 100 pesos for a pack of, just one pair. And the other one is 50 pesos for a pack of a pair too, right? And you're like, okay, let me feel them. You feel the texture, and the expensive one feels way nicer. Thicker material, comfier, and then you feel the other one. And it feels like it would get a hole in the first use. So it honestly depends on what you're buying.
Yes, sir. Toothpaste or socks.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. Because there's some websites, like for example, Shein is a website that I like. Not for clothing, because sometimes the clothes do not hit. A lot of the other stuff, like just the day-to-day...
Trivial junk.
Yeah, the day-to-day things, can be really well made things for really good prices. Because I bought off of this website a lot. It's pretty good stuff for really cheap.
We should be getting
But say
paid. This is like an ad.
Yeah. But say there's any clothing brand website that has like $30 tank top.
Yeah, you're paying for the brand then. You're paying for the swoosh or
exactly.
the three stripes or whatever.
When you could find something way cheaper that's the same style, same color, just cheaper. If you're willing to pay the brand price, then fine. But I really think that if you can find a cheaper model, then you should.
It's semantics. We're using the word cheaper. We should probably be using less expensive than cheaper, because that's how I'm thinking of it, right? Like cheap is cheap. Something's cheap, it's cheap. It's flimsy, it's crappy, it's of no use. That's not what we mean, right? We mean like it's just something that just doesn't cost as much, because there's no question you can get a more quality item for less money in lots of instances. When I was younger, if you had something that was made in China, you were like, oh, that's crap. Because for the most part, it would have been of lesser quality, not just lesser price. It would have been literally cheaper. That's what it was. But that's not true anymore, even remotely. Like, I don't really look at the label of anything anymore, where it's from, because it just doesn't matter. The manufacturing now all over the world has gotten pretty much the same. So the equipment they use, the ingredients they use, they're all quality. So you can get amazingly made things that are durable and reliable for cheaper price.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I think often cheaper can be as good or better, for sure. You're paying for the brand. No doubt you're paying for the brand a lot of time. But there's also times when more expensive is more expensive for a reason, right? You buy some finely crafted thing that like you could buy... I've made some stuff out of wood, right? You've helped me. We've made stuff out of wood. You can spend 2 hours and throw a chair together. Yeah. It could be a good chair, solid, right? Workman-like. It depends what you want it for. Or it could be crap, just garbage that might last a couple of days. Or somebody could spend a month crafting a chair, handcrafting it, and putting all kinds of love and effort and skill into it. And that thing will last Armageddon and be comfortable and wonderful, like the end of the world, end of times, right? And that thing could be, just the most beautiful, amazing thing. Well, that should cost more. If it took a guy 200 hours to make it, that should cost more than a thing that took a machine, 10 seconds to blast out. Like, okay, so there's definitely things that have their cost is reflected in their value.
Yeah. And another example could be Apple products or phones in general. You're not going to buy a $10 phone off of the black market and be like, what? This phone is so bad. Because you can't be like that when you ordered a $10 phone.
Yeah, you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
Sometimes you do get what you pay for. But that's a good example too. The Apple thing is a good example. A great phone, great tool, fantastic. But you pay for the Apple name, because there's all kinds of Android phones that you can get that are just as good, that do just as many things.
Sometimes
the camera's
maybe better.
sometimes even better. The camera's just as good. for a fraction of the price. So and that's a perfect example of where sometimes cheaper or less expensive is as good or better.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against, like, we have Apple phones, they're great. Like, it's an excellent tool, but you're definitely in part paying for an iPhone.
Yeah.
Where,
The name.
The name. There's no question. We look at computers, Matt's just got the laptop. They're, it's a fantastic value. And to get the same value in a Mac or in an Apple, you're going to pay 2-3 times as much. And literally, you're not getting 2 or 3 times the value. You're just not. There's nothing about the speed, the motherboard, the card. He's got an NVIDIA card in. There's nothing about it that's better, except for the price is greater because of the brand.
Yeah. So we can both agree that that less expensive can definitely be better.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, okay.
For sure. Especially look where we live.
Yeah,
you can buy amazing things that are really well made and strong. The local people here, you don't see that. You see, that's what they do. They buy things that work, that have utility, that are strong and going to last, as opposed to something where you pay a lot for something that's just flash and
half as good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, definitely.
Okay. For segments, I'm going to switch things up a little bit. We're going to do the what if before our review. So, for the what if, I've mixed up a pretty good concoction.
What, you're a dictator now?
Here's the what if.
You're the emperor of the podcast now, are you?
Yep.
Just dropping these bombs on you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay. So, what if you had a power? How would you use your power for the greater good? Do you want to start us off, or should I?
Well, you probably best you do, so I can consider this. Are we saying that? So first of all, we got to say what our power. We got to come up with a power.
Yeah. My power.
So you're saying that for the greater good, or just for my good, because those two things aren't necessarily the same thing, right?
Yeah. Okay. So the question would be, how would you use your power that you selected for the greater good?
All right.
Okay.
So a selfless power.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
So I've done quite a bit of pondering on this, and I think that I would probably do something like flying or super speed. Okay, hear me out. So
this is not a hear me out.
No, but I'm saying like hear me out.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes. Continue with your pondering.
Okay.
Ponder on.
So the pondering I did.
Ponder on. I don't.
So the pondering I did was flying or super speed, right? The reason I would choose one of those two is because with flying, I'd be able to easily maneuver my way through. You know what? I would mix the two. I'd be a super flyer, okay? So I'd be a speedy flyer. And think about it. I could get anywhere in the nick of time, right? Be like, oh no, there's a cat in that tree. I can't get up there. Yes, I can. Because I can take flight.
So you're Supergirl.
Basically, except that I can be injured. But yeah, I'd be like, oh, what's that? You need me to put out a fire? I'll be right there, right? Jump on the roof, take off, anywhere, in 10 seconds. I could fly all the way to Montreal in 10 seconds because I'm a speedy flyer. But I could also crank it down a notch if I just wanted to take a little leisure flight. Yeah. So personally, I think that is the best power you could have.
How are you helping people with this again?
Because, okay, say I'm just laying in bed or whatever.
Yeah.
Someone's
pondering.
Like, pondering, exactly. Pondering.
For sure.
Exactly. And then I get a call on my super phone. And someone's like, you need to help me because I'm currently being chased.
Is it a separate phone from your regular phone?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because I'm being chased down an alley. Have no fear, buddy. I'll be right there. Speedily dress.
So you're on speed dial.
Yeah.
You're like you're like some version of 911.
Yes.
People call you up. Okay.
And then let me quickly do my super hair. And then bam.
Wow.
All it takes is 15 seconds in total. 15 seconds and I'm there. And I'm helping the person that's being chased.
Do you have a costume?
I do, yeah. Do you want to know what it looks like?
Yeah.
Okay. It's red and orange, okay? So the trimming is orange, and I have a red cape, and the rest is red too.
You have a cape?
Yeah.
Capes are what?
Every flyer has a cape.
What is the point of a cape? I know, but just because everyone has one, why
no,
not? What does a cape do?
Because when I'm flying, I can hear it go in the wind.
Wow, so that's the point of the cape, so you can hear it go. What does a cape do? I've always wondered that. Superman's with his cape, he never uses it.
Okay, fine. Then my cape can...
Well, you can have a cape. I'm just saying.
My cape can transform into a cat.
A blanket?
No, into a cat. So I take it off, and then my cat can fly and run too.
No, it's just, no, okay.
Yep. And her name is, well, my name is...
Oh, you have not pondered this.
Super Speed Dial. No, Miss... come back to me on that one.
Oh, my.
You're next.
So that was not pondered.
No, it was not.
I don't know. What would be a good superpower? I think something to do with time. Either being able to stop time
Okay.
or go back in time. Go back in time would be useful, right?
But what about, like, messing things
Well,
up?
no, that's the thing, of course. Like, if
But
you're
what if you
going-
had a superpower that was, like, you could go back in time without messing anything up?
Well, that would be a huge problem. Think about it. No, think about it. Think about the responsibility of that. So everybody go like, oh, I'm gonna go back in time and I'm gonna sort Hitler out, right? You know.
Yeah, whatever.
And there'll be no ramifications. It won't hurt anything. Everything will stay the same. You'll still be born. But he won't be around. But that's not how it would work at all.
Yeah.
Like it just wouldn't. It wouldn't be like that, no matter what you did. So I that one's too weird for me. So I don't mean necessarily being able to do that, but say you could just freeze time. So
Yeah,
say
that's
there was a
cool.
beef going on, you were or a mugging or something, and you could just freeze time, and then you could go and like snatch the gun or pick the other person up and carry them out to safety or
Yeah,
something
and you know
like
in
that.
movies where, like, if someone freezes time and then they walk around with their, like, cup of coffee or whatever, just kind of moving
yeah,
things
like
around, and
that
then they
guy
grab
from,
the person's fist and point it towards them.
That guy from the X-Men.
Yes.
Those are great scenes in the X-Men when
Yeah.
he does that. Yeah, like just I think that would be cool.
Well, not to brag,
Plus, freezing
but
time would be awesome. Like, imagine somebody's annoying you, or
Yeah.
just bugging you, just be like, ding. And then you just
Take
take
a little-
off, and
yeah.
then once you're around the corner and far enough away, ding.
yeah.
And they'd be like, was he even here?
Well, not to brag,
Nope.
but with my super speed, I'd
Plus,
be going
I don't
fast. Oh,
need a costume. I don't need a cape.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be going so fast
Or
that
some weird cat.
basically time was. I'd be going so
Well, your
fast that
cat would be weird.
time was basically
If your
frozen.
cat was a cape
no,
and then
it's a Maine
it
Coon.
would-
It's a red Maine Coon.
It's still going to be weird.
No, it's not.
It's a cape. It's a cape that magically turns into a cat while you're flying
Yeah.
around. Mm-hmm. Freaking people out.
Yeah, I don't see any
So
problem with
what
that.
happens when you show up in the alley then? You show up in the alley and you plunk down, you settle down on the ground, and then your cape turns into a cat?
No. So, okay, picture this, right?
Oh,
I've taken
I'm
flight.
picturing it.
I've taken flight. I'm in the sky, and basically, I'm like, I rip my cape off, go like this, float to the side next to me.
People can't see what you're doing.
Okay, basically, I just grab the cape, flip it over my head, and then move it to the side next to me, wiggle it 4 times, and then bam,
Doing
turns
some
into a
kind of
cat. Turns into a cat, okay?
matador thing here with the cape, and then it turns into a cat.
And then while
so with
this
the cat
is
just
flying,
hanging there, you're holding it by its shoulders. Like,
yeah,
thump.
he's my friend,
Oh.
okay? But then when it's time for crime fighting, he gets bigger, and he has these giant claws. And
So
if I
what-
need him, his name is...
So when you're flying, the cat's not your cape anymore.
My name is Miss Speed.
Your cat's not your cape's not a cat. Is
No.
it a cape or a cat?
It's both. And then when I needed to turn back into a cat, grab him by the scruff, 1, 2, 3, turns back into a cape. Bam, put it back on. Easy like that.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that simple.
All right. You still haven't explained so great. You have super speed and you can fly. Now you plunk down in the alley and you've already said that you can get hurt. So what are you going to do now?
My cat.
A guy's being mugged by
My cat.
10 people? Oh, the cat. So the cat sorts out everything.
I already said he gets bigger. Well, I'm the one
You
that gets
just
us
said
there.
that. Bigger claws. I heard you.
Yeah.
Okay. So all you are is the vessel that takes the super fighting cat, and the super fighting cat solves the crime, and you just sit there
Yeah.
waiting to get your cape back.
Yeah, that's basically
No,
it.
okay. So you're a
No,
fast.
because think about it.
You're Uber. You're
think about
Uber.
it.
You're
Think
a
about it.
fast Uber.
Yeah, well, think about it. I found my way around the question, because maybe I don't always want to use it for the greater good, right? Maybe I just want to take it for a little leisurely
Take what?
fly.
Who's it?
My power,
Your
right?
power?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Of
I
course
found a
you
way
would.
around it,
Huh.
because not only can I use it for the greater good? But I have a cat that does all the dirty work for me, so.
Yeah, you're not doing anything. You're just carrying your super cat. All right. Now I understand your weird power.
Yep.
Your power is that you can fly and carry a cat.
Yeah.
Or some kind of psycho cat.
And it's always a kitten until it turns into an evil, like...
Yeah, all right. Some saber-tooth killing machine.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Okay. I like that what if.
Yeah, what if? Okay, they're always fun.
Now, for our second segment, get it? Because we switched it around a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So basically for our segment, we're doing a review, a movie review. What do we call this? The Cage scale?
No, yeah, what do we call this?
Nicolas Cage.
The Cage scale.
The Cage scale. So we're going to be reviewing the movie Carry On. So if you guys don't know what this movie is, it's a movie about this guy, just this normal guy who works at an airport in TSA. And one day he gets promoted to baggage, like what's it called? Security. He gets promoted to security where people put the bags through the scanner, the x-ray.
Well, he is security. He's TSA.
Yeah, he's TSA. Yeah. But he gets promoted to the guy that gets to look at the TV. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he gets a call from his telephone. Picks it up. What's good? The guy's like,
what's good? He did not say what's good.
I need you.
He did not say,
yes, he
yo,
did.
What's good?
Yes, he did.
God. No, he didn't.
And he's like, the guy on the phone's like, I need you to bring this luggage through the check. It's the guy with the baseball cap and a red ribbon on his luggage. Don't look at what's inside the luggage. Let it go through. Doesn't matter, okay? Just let it go through. If you stop it, I will kill your wife. So obviously this guy's shaking in his boots. He's like, what am I gonna do? So it's basically just this guy trying to stop this,
there you go.
This like it's like a bomb, but it kills people.
It's a chemical thing.
It's a chemical bomb, basically. He needs to stop this
from getting on
plane
a plane.
From taking off with the bomb in it. If you want to see what happens, you better watch it.
Oh,
it's pretty good. In some parts, it gets kind of stupid. It's like, really? He just knows where this guy is at every single time.
There's all kinds of
but
cognitive breakdowns in it.
Acting-wise and action-wise, it's a pretty good movie, you know? It's like an hour and a half.
It was entertaining enough.
Yeah.
It's PG.
It's PG, so it's not...
It's not super gory. Mm-hmm. There's a bit of violence in it. There's definitely some dying.
Yeah.
But it's not... There's no nudity, no sex. I don't recall any swearing, any language.
Yeah. There's light. And
the violence is not super gory or anything.
No, not at all.
It's like, you know what it is? It's trying to be, it's like a minor league Die Hard for everybody who knows that movie. It's Jason Bateman. He plays the bad guy in it, and he's always good. He plays his usual Jason Bateman himself, doing Jason Bateman things. So if he appeals to you, that's helpful. And Joel Edgerton's...
Jason Bateman?
Yeah, he plays the bad guy.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I think Joel Edgerton is the
minion,
the good guy.
Yeah.
And it's good. I mean, it's pretty well acted, and there's a couple of characters in it that are like just.
Well, okay. Picture the Avengers' violence, but dialed down. It's kind of.
Oh, I think that's misleading. It's not Avengery at all.
It's less, yeah.
Nah, it's a little thriller.
Yeah.
It's a little action thriller.
It's good if you like suspense, a little suspense.
It's
pretty good, yeah.
It's all right. It's just.
And if you're if you're an old Descendants fan like I am, his wife is Evie.
Oh,
if
really?
you know, you know.
Oh, if you know, you know. Well, I did not know.
Yeah,
there you go.
She's gotten a few roles before in a romance. I love the romance, Purple Hearts. Yeah. It's really good. I don't know. It's really good.
I mean, it's definitely something a family could watch without being too concerned. I don't know, kids like 11, 12, 13.
Yeah, it's really good. It's very different from the last movie we reviewed.
Although you wouldn't want to watch it if flying is a thing that concerns you, because it would just feed into your fears of flying. That's for sure. That's something it could never happen, man. There's so many stretches of reality in the movie to make the movie work. Like there's just so much. Like, really, nobody else is around right now.
Nobody else notices.
Remember when the guy the guy's shooting at the van, and it's like, seriously, in this giant airport,
Yeah.
that's where the van is, that's where he is, really,
Yeah.
and nobody notices.
And there's a few
anybody who's
times
been
where
to
it's
an
like-
airport, especially in America, there's security and cops
Yeah.
and TSA. They're all over the place.
Well, he poisons a guy, and it's like it's in LA too. So it's a giant
Yeah,
airport with
yeah.
many, many, many people. And this guy walks by and poisons him.
But it's
And it's like, no one else noticed this?
it's all right. We've definitely seen worse movies.
Oh, 100%. It's really...
That's my big review. I've seen worse movies.
Yeah.
It's on the Cage scale. It's like a 1 or
Oh,
a 2.
yeah.
Like there's zero
But on
Nicolas
the movie
Cage-ness
scale,
to it. I think
a
like
6.
a 6. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
6.5 maybe. But a 6.
Yeah.
I'd say a good, solid 6.
It's watchable.
Definitely.
All right.
I'm not going to watch it again until my kids are into that kind of stuff. Because
Your kids.
it wasn't that good. But it was all right.
Already making plans, so we're gonna get in a list together. Oh, I could watch that with my kids.
Yeah. Isn't that what you did when you were younger?
No, I'm going by the seat of my pants here, man. That's an
What?
old time expression.
What?
Flying by the seat of your pants. It's an old expression that means that you're just making it up as you go.
Okay.
It's
Going off his rocker.
I'm just making it up as I go. No, you know how I am with movies. I look at them and then you decide. We watch movies that some parents would be like, "What, dude? This guy? That they should call social services." And then there's other movies that people like kids your age watch that I'm like, "What? No, man, you can't watch that." So
Yeah.
it depends on the kid, right?
On the Cage scale, it's definitely like a 1 or a 2.
Oh yeah, it
no
does not
one-
exist on the
no.
Nicolas Cage scale.
No.
No.
But movie scale, 6. Okay, guys.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in to
Yes.
episode.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Irish, for another delightful encounter.
Thank you. Alrighty.
Yeah, next week.
See you next week.
Well, I'll probably see you later on today.
Episode the 10th.
That's right. It is episode the 10th.
Catch
isn't
us
it?
on episode 11th,
Yeah.
and then 12th, 13th, 14th. I'm excited for episode 13 and 14. You know what I realized? My new favorite number is going to be 12. Do you want to know why?
I do.
Because 3 and 4 play big parts in that number. So that's my new favorite number.
Well, I don't understand that at all. My favorite number is 13. I don't see how you get to 12.
No,
How does
because
4 play a role in 12?
3 times 4 is 12. 3 and 4
I see where you're doing
times...
there. I was thinking 2 plus 1 is 3.
Mm-mm.
All right.
Yeah, there you go. Cool, huh?
It's unbelievably insightful.
Yeah, I know.
I just feel like I'll probably be pondering that for a long time.
Good. Because
right.
I sure spent a while pondering it.
All right.
Okay, I love you.
I love you.
See you next time.
Yes.
Well, I'll see you later today, but still.
Oh, now you're stealing my act.
Yeah.